Am I the a-hole for kicking my mother out of my wedding after she brought her ex as her plus one? This is going to be a good one. Well, hello, lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jamie Wolfer, and I'm your online wedding planner. And occasionally, we like to scroll the interwebs, aka Reddit, and sometimes TikTok, and just react to some stuff that's out there. And today's video is going to be all about the madres, the moms, the mother figures. Some of which we will use that term very loosely. As a quick disclaimer before we dive into this, though, I have a ton of moms who watch this channel. These are not you. I can guarantee you, if you're out here trying to figure out how to help your child plan their wedding and you were just doing the Lord's work, like scrubbing through all my videos when I'm talking at like 2x speed at a normal standard rate, I'm aware that I speak quickly, okay? But you could also slow it down if you need to. For then that advice goes to anyone. These are like next level, okay? These are like leveling up. If you are a mom and you are watching this channel, we salute you. We know this is a lot, especially because this is probably a lot different from your wedding if you planned one back in the day. And I don't mean back in the day like way back in the day, but even like 15 years ago, weddings look different today than they did then. It's a lot to kind of learn and incorporate tradition as well as trends, etc. But some of the moms cause a bit of a ruckus. And today's video is just a small handful of examples of those situations. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. Am I the a-hole for kicking my mother out of my wedding after she brought my ex as her plus one? I read it wrong in the intro. My ex as her plus one. I haven't even read this. I've done no scanning. All I know is the internet says not the a-hole. So, buckle up, buttercups. It's going to be a wild ride today. I, male 30, started seeing June, female 29, about 3 years ago. My mother's never really liked June for a couple of reasons, the main one being the fact that June didn't let my mom push her around. Ooh, get it, Junie girl. She kept firm boundaries, which I really admired, and she even helped me to do the same. My mom hated this, calling June controlling and wishing I hadn't broken up with my previous girlfriend, Margot, whom my mom loved. I was with Margot for 5 years and it was horrible. Oh no! Margot was very controlling and manipulative and always guilted me into things I wasn't comfortable with. But thanks to the support from my friends and my sister, I was able to leave her. It was hard, but I had help and my life has improved since. My mom was very upset with this, but relationships didn't last, so she eventually let it go until I started dating June about a year later. When June and I announced our engagement, my mom didn't freak out, which was weird considering my mom hates June. Oh no! She was very calm, but I just took it as she was finally accepting this, and so I didn't think much of it. Everything was fine and smooth up until the wedding. Oh my gosh, I gave both my parents plus ones to the wedding since they're both remarried after I graduated college. So I'm not close to their spouses, but gave them the option of inviting them. We had a very small ceremony, just immediate family and a few close friends. After the ceremony, me and June went to take pictures and then met back with everyone we invited to the reception, which was pretty big. When we got there, my sister and June's best friend / maid of honor ran up to us in a panic. Before they even said anything, I spotted it. My mom was at the table with my dad, my dad's wife, and Margot. I wanted to freak, but June kept me calm. I walked over, pulled them both aside, and simply told them to leave. My mom tried to explain Margot and I are soulmates and June is just in the way of true love, but I wasn't hearing it. I didn't care. Just got my best friends to escort them out, and I returned to the party where luckily, after a few moments, I was able to relax and enjoy it. Oh, I really didn't think this would all turn into something huge, but me and June just got back from our honeymoon where we didn't have our phones, and seeing mine, I saw hundreds of texts from multiple family members. They all think I was an a-hole for kicking my mom out of her only son's wedding. For the record, she was there for the ceremony, but apparently was really upset she was kicked from the reception. Here's a summary of my family's thoughts. Some think I should have just ignored Margot and didn't have to freak out. A few others, including my dad, think I should have just kicked Margot and let my mom stay. But after the stunt my mom pulled, I didn't want her there either. I'm starting to second guess myself since everyone is really mad. June and my sister are on my side, but I fear my dad may be right and I should have just let my mom stay and made Margot leave. So I've come to Reddit. Am I the a-hole? Before we jump into the comments, as we usually do, I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on this. One, and I think this is probably the most difficult part of this entire story, at least for those of us if we relive this tale, is how the heck did you go on your entire honeymoon without your cell phone? What? Proud of you. Real good, real intentional, spending some non-screen time with your new wifey wife, but how an entire honeymoon, no phone, just out there, just, you know what, okay? That's impressive. And automatically, I just feel like you deserve like a Medal of Honor for that, for something. And am I displaying my own addiction in my response to this? Maybe. But tell me, would you be able to go an entire week, let's say? No cell phone, no pictures of your honeymoon, nothing. No Instagram stories, nothing. Second of all, in less important news, I think that you are a pretty good read of the people around you. I had an experience with a therapist where I was talking about someone in my life, and the therapist goes, "Oh no, don't make assumptions. We don't make assumptions." And I'm like, I have known this person for 15 years. I'm not making assumptions. I'm making an educated guess. And I think there's a really big difference between those two. We know the people around us, or we tend to know them, right? And that's just by doing life in proximity with one another. OP knew that his mom hated his fiance, hated his girlfriend, then fiance, now wife. OP knew that. OP also talked about really starting to implement strong boundaries and how June has scaffolded him. Do you know what scaffolding is? She held him up as he was repairing from the inside out or whatever, repairing the facade of the stuff. It works. My husband's in construction, okay? I need to come up with better analogies. But she held him through the process of putting up better boundaries. So for him to have a situation like this, where mom has been very clear, don't like her, gross, whatever. She didn't even bring her, okay. Rein it back in. I try not to get super emotional or super ragey about these, but this one really bothers me. She didn't even bring her own husband. What the heck? Okay. So honestly, I think OP handled this relatively flawlessly. It's one thing for people to see the outside, the groom walking over to the mom and the ex and saying, "Hey, you gotta go," right? And that's all they see. But did they hear the part where mom goes, "That's not supposed to be your wife. This is your soulmate. You're supposed to be married to her." That's where it's okay, this isn't just a stunt. That's a direct hit. That is on purpose. That is you making a statement, a literal, not just a figurative statement by bringing on the ex that you thought he should have married, but literally saying out loud, "You screwed up today. This is not the person you're supposed to be married to." So I think if the family knew the full extent of what mom said, they would understand why OP went, "No, you're gone. This isn't happening." And he's already asked them to leave. So at that point, it's just icing on the cake, right? I asked you to leave. I just asked you to go. And now you're making this a thing, a bigger thing than it was. And you already brought my ex to my wedding. And now you're telling me that all of this on my wedding day. Yeah, I think if you explain that to dad and to the family members you feel comfortable explaining that to, I think he'd get it. And I also think that maybe there's a reason that dad and mom aren't together. And this pattern of behavior could be a contributor to that. It could be, who knows? I obviously don't know this relationship. I think that if mom took that opportunity to say, "You're right, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. Can I please stay?" That would have showed contrition, right? But she didn't. She doubled down and went, "You shouldn't be marrying her. You should be marrying that lady that you can't stand, but I love, because my decisions are the best decisions," clearly. Before we jump into the comments on this one, if you haven't subscribed already, jump on down there, hit subscribe, because we love ourselves a good AITA reaction every once in a while. And you might want to stick around and make sure you see all of them, because these are, you can't write this. I mean, you can physically type it. Not the a-hole. Quote, "My wife and I will not be starting our marriage life together tolerating disrespect and sabotage." Good word. "Mom's actions were beyond reprehensible, disgusting, and more than deserving of being removed from the celebration of my beautiful wife and I committing our lives to each other. You are more than welcome to allow toxic people to destroy your happy moments, but this is not something I will tolerate for myself or my wife." This has 26,000 upvotes. I would have worded things a little bit differently, okay? But it gets the message across, and if that's the wording you choose, that's okay, because you're making your point. Someone said, "Effing well said." OP, please send this to everyone and block those who are defending your mom's actions. Not the a-hole OP, by the way. Why is it you are expected to keep peace when your mom disrespected you and your wife on your wedding day? I'd consider North Carolina, too, after this whole thing with your mom, OP. If you know, you know. I'm an idiot. That's all you need to know. I love this statement, but with a caveat. OP, you need to tell the full story to everyone and anyone, because they won't have any context for the disrespect otherwise. Ha! I brought that up earlier, but I don't know if you need to tell everyone. I just think if you feel like you want someone to understand the whole thing, you can, but don't overextend your energy dealing with the situation any further than you need to, other than salvaging maybe those conversations or those relationships if you want to. So I don't think it's a necessity to run around like confessing this. Well, not confessing, because you're not confessing a sin. I don't think you need to run around and share this with everybody, because that's your prerogative, and you can choose how much you want to defend your actions or not. And if people want to talk to you about them, they can come up to you and chat with you about that. Because I think that's another healthy boundary to have, right? We don't need to always explain ourselves to everybody. We just don't. It's exhausting and it's unnecessary, in my opinion. Tell them your mother brought your manipulative ex to your reception. Tell them why, what your mother actually said to your face at the reception, what your life was like with Margot, and frankly, what has been up to now with your mother. The above post only works if people know why you're drawing a line, so make her the story, not you. This sounds exhausting, and I'm only reading it. Basically, by trying to walk away and be the bigger person all the time, you've given your mother time and space to set the public narrative and tell only her side of the story to family and friends. All those people who left you messages probably have no clue what really went down. They just know a mother wasn't able to celebrate her child's marriage. So sad. She's the victim. Congratulations on developing the strength and the skill set to walk away from the manipulation. And now it's time to develop a new skill, fighting back. You do that by talking, texting, and telling the full story to anyone who thinks they know better. And you keep it up from now on anytime you interact with her. Get louder, call her out on her crap in the moment, and let her suffer the consequences of her actions in front of others. I can't say that I fully agree with all of this. This sounds like a really intense way of handling things. And I don't know if you've ever done the Enneagram, but I'm an Enneagram 3, which, if you know, is no surprise. Okay? There's a reason I have 2 YouTube channels and 3 podcasts. Your girl can't be stopped. But I also inherently am a really big people pleaser, so I would simply handle this differently. I would find this method, this response style, really intense and really difficult to keep explaining the whole story to person after person after person. And I think at a certain point, if they want to side with her, I mean, you can't tell me that they haven't noticed some of her toxic traits or some of her quirks or some of these patterns of behavior that would indicate that something could be happening here. I mean, maybe there are some people that are really good manipulators out there, and maybe she's one of them. But if they can't see that bringing your ex-girlfriend to your wedding is inappropriate, are they going to listen when you give a full response? So at a certain point, you have to pick between protecting your peace and defending your honor. And if they're already being like, you shouldn't have done that to your mom, even though they knew that your mom brought your ex, are they going to listen if you give an explanation? It's just worth tossing that in the hopper. Not the a-hole. Kicking Margot out would not have been enough. Side note, who the F goes to their ex's wedding with his mom? Psycho! Your mother actively tried to sabotage your wedding. She brought in an abusive ex and then said your new wife was in the way. That's appalling. She deserved to be kicked out, and your family should acknowledge that she clearly didn't want to be there. She wanted to hurt you and your wife. Yes, Margot clearly doesn't have an ounce of self-respect for her to go to an ex's wedding after the relationship ended badly. And for Mommy Dearest, she just damaged her relationship with her son and future grandkids for nothing. The Margot point is really interesting to me because they've already been apart for 4 years now. 4 years, right? If my math is mathing. Because it sounds like OP broke up with Margot and then took about a year before he started dating June. Then they dated for 3 years and now they're married. So there's a pretty huge gap here. What the heck's she doing there? This makes no sense. It's illogical. Like either she's like really harboring onto this, or maybe the mom kept feeding her lines of like, he still loves you. I mean, no matter which way you paint it, the fact that both of them chose their actions, both mom and Margot chose these actions for this wedding day is absurd. It makes no sense to me. So I think we're all going to be in agreement on this one, that OP is not the a-hole in this situation. At least I hope. I mean, you might think that mom deserved to stay. You're entitled to that opinion. I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree with you because, no. But of course, as always, let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Now for the other story we're going to be covering in today's video. Also has to do with mothers. Buckle up, buttercup. I already said that. I need more catchphrases. Am I the a-hole for starting my wedding ceremony before my mom showed up? Internet says no. No, it's not you, Boo Bear. The day of the wedding started out as they normally do. I, bride, was inside getting ready and final touches were being made outside. After I was almost ready by noon, my mom had to run back to the hotel 20 minutes away to change and come back with my grandma and family friend. The invitation says ceremony at 2. As per usual, we were a little late starting, but nothing crazy. Next thing I know, I'm walking myself down the aisle with no mom, grandma, or friend in sight. The ceremony continues and it's over before we know it. Still nothing. After 45 minutes, they finally pull up. Then I proceed to go and tell them it's over and that they missed it, and that 2 meant 2. My mother immediately became hostile and proceeded to blame the bakery for not having buns ready, then said that they were stopped by a train, and my personal favorite was, it's your fault you didn't call or text to see where we are. Excuse me! Again, the invitation said 2. The officiant also had another wedding to get to after mine, so it was a tight schedule. We had no options, okay? So am I the a-hole for not holding up my ceremony? Side note, I also found out the real reason why they were late. She wasn't done getting herself ready, therefore holding everyone up. Ooh, but she's mad at me because it's my fault. Are we just not going to explain the buns? What buns? Why are we needing buns? Imagine the mom being like, the buns weren't ready. What buns? I don't know the buns. The buns and then the train and the thing. So, no, OP, not the a-hole at all. Now, from a wedding planner's perspective, if we know that a significant person is missing, mom, grandma, etc., anyone on the VIP list is missing, we will consistently check in with the couple to be like, how long would you like to wait? Do you want to keep waiting? How important is this for you to wait? So that's one of the benefits of working with a wedding planner or even just a coordinator, to be there to kind of help you manage this and verbal process this and keep an eye out for the guests and the VIPs and kind of help to monitor that start time, right? But obviously, if I'm the wedding planner in the situation and I know that the officiant has to go, like we don't have a choice, we have to get the show on the road, I feel like the client and I would come to the same exact conclusion of, we're just gonna have to get started. Like we don't know where mom is, we don't know what's going on, but mom still showed up 45 minutes past the start time. That is so extremely late. That's not like 15 minutes, because I live in a small town in Texas now, okay? I understand the trains a little better. I understand that when you're stuck in a place and a train is going and going and going and going and going, that you could be stuck there for a while, especially if they're tracked in some sort of rural area and there's like 82,000 train cars following this. It's just, they can be really long. I get it. We'll give some grace for that. Again, I don't know where the location of this is, so that was new for me, learning the trains, the big trains are a thing, okay? But to have it be 45 minutes, and then to come up with the excuse of the buns and the train, and then to come up with the pathetic excuses, in my opinion, of the buns and the train, for your explanation of, wait, when did she leave? After I was almost ready by noon, my mom had to run back to the hotel 20 minutes away. Noon! Ooh. So from noon to 2:45, with 20 minutes of driving each way. So that's 2 hours and 45 minutes. That means 2 hours and 5 minutes. For the buns and the train? For the mystery buns and the train? No, the math is not mathing. So honestly, if this was my client, I would have made the same exact decision. Also, it's your wedding day. The likelihood of you having your phone on you and tracking all the people around you is very, very slim. Unless you're like, oh my gosh, my mom is still missing. Someone call her, someone text her. You've got a lot going on. There's a lot of people around you. Photos are being taken. You're getting touch-ups with your hair and makeup. You're being moved from place to place. You might not even have pockets in your dress. There are so many reasons why this is not your responsibility. Definitely not the a-hole. If she could receive a text, she could send a text. It's not up to the bride or groom to keep track of the family on the wedding day. Agreed. That said, it is curious that no other family members, no other member of the wedding party, no wedding planner, etc., made an attempt to find out where the mother of the bride was when she didn't show up. Was it a tiny ceremony? Also, what good would a text have done? They already knew the start time. A text would have conveyed no new information except for the fact that 2 means 2. Well, that's not exactly accurate because you could have asked, right? You could have asked, where are you? To speak to the part where you said that no one noticed, again, there are so many things going on. So I can understand being the family members that are like waiting for the ceremony to start, not seeing the mother, thinking she's back there with the bride, getting ready. And the bride thinking she must be out there mingling with the family members. That's why she's not back here with me. And the wedding planner, while if I'm informed that a person is not there, a lot of times I haven't met these people, especially if I'm their month of coordinator. I've never met their parents before. Maybe their mom didn't come to the rehearsal, or maybe it's grandma that's missing. And I don't know what your grandma looks like. It's not like I have like a portfolio of pictures like they do in Devil Wears Prada where they're able to like look at the pictures and say the names. I don't memorize those before wedding days. I don't know. So there is this assumption that, oh, if they're not with us, they must be over there with you. Not the a-hole. You started your wedding on time. I don't know what poor planning involved her leaving and coming back, but she didn't make it. And her reaction doesn't sound like she even really intended to. I do not see why you should have to delay the start of your wedding for anyone. Sounds like an important lesson she needed to learn. Response to that says, OP probably was not capable of delaying it even if she wanted to. Many venues have multiple weddings in a day and have tight schedules. That's not true. Some do, but not many. A delay by OP might have meant no wedding that day at all. Let's just touch on the multiple weddings in a day thing because that was mostly inaccurate. If there's a venue that has multiple weddings on one day, they're usually sprawling. They're going to be in multiple different locations. It's usually like a big resort or a hotel. So it's not like getting married in a little Elvis church off the strip where you kind of have to like churn and burn and get through them really quickly. Usually you have the space for a minimum of 8 hours, if not 10, if not 12. So you can't really squeeze more than one event into the same venue location on the same day. You can have it in different locations on the same venue, which might make parking complicated. But other than that, usually if they offer more than one, they're staffed, they are well equipped to handle that. My guess is this is not the first time mom's done something like this. If this is brand new behavior, we'll be like, oh my gosh, mom, that's so out of character. What happened? And she just confesses and goes, I'm so sorry. Important words, okay? 4 or 3 if you're using contraction. I'm so sorry. I thought I had more time. I thought I could handle it well. And then I realized that I took too long getting ready. And I hadn't picked up the mystery buns. And then we got caught behind a train and I just was not prepared. I thought I was, and I was not. And I'm sorry. That's different. That doesn't lead a person to go to Reddit to be like, well, actually, never mind. I've seen some posts on here. Can you believe my mom did this? It was an accident. Accidents happen. But my guess is, based on OP's response and just overall like frustration surrounding this, it's not the first time mom has displayed or hinted at this sort of behavior. And honestly, that was probably a deciding factor in why they decided to get going anyways. Not the a-hole. From your reaction, I infer she does this a lot. Ha! See? Same page. One option you have is to make this a running joke in front of her. Ooh, I don't like that. But it's an option. Okay, Mom, dinner reservations are for 7. Let's not make this like my wedding. Every time she tries to deflect blame, just say, sure, Mom, and laugh. Let me know if you would actually do that, because I would never. That's not my style. At all. I don't know what's going on with people who are trying to find some way to make you at fault for not holding up your wedding, trying to call her or whatever. It was your wedding day. She's old enough to know how to tell time, and she was just assuming that the world would stop so she could get her hair right. She is a raging a-hole. I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for a cab fare. My tux didn't come back from the cleaners. An old friend came in from out of town. Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, locusts. It wasn't my fault. I swear to God. You should have waited for me to arrive. Terrible flood, locusts, not the locusts on the wedding day. Oh, I think we're going to be all on the same page for this one too, because I think for some of us, we might have handled things slightly differently, right? Like our response might not have been as intense or as mild, or we would have tried to wait 15 minutes or begged the officiant to wait. You know, we might have moved things a little bit, or we might have texted Mom. But the core issue here is Mom was late. And someone needs to take accountability for that. And the fact that Mom goes, well, you should have made it a priority to make sure that I was here, shows a level of self-centeredness on someone else's wedding day that, in my opinion, is completely inappropriate. And that's probably putting it lightly. I just think that a wedding day is a very precious, very important day. Please note, however, that I'm not saying it's the most important day of your life. This is what I do for a living. I make these videos for a living. I plan weddings. I help people plan their weddings online through the master plan. Like, I do this. I started my business in 2015. So I've been doing this for a while. And I would still argue to this day that it is not the best day of your life. It's one of the best days. So just tuck that back in there, okay? And if that resonates with you at all and you're really struggling with trying to figure out how to plan this, like I said earlier, get down there, hit subscribe. I release wedding planning videos every single week, and I'm here to help you through this. I want you to plan easy and stress less, because planning the wedding is actually the easy part. It's the emotions, the finances, the expectations, the family, those things that get in the way. And so anything that I can do to help alleviate that, I would really like to do. So that's what we have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you are a mom and you are watching this channel, we love you so much. Thank you for showing up for your kids. Thank you for being intentional. Thank you for trying to educate yourself on what wedding planning looks like, because it's probably so different now, or maybe it's not. Maybe I got married last year and you're just really excited and wanting to do this for your cutie patootie all over again, and then we still applaud you anyways. If you haven't done so already, jump on down there, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride and mom. And, you know, anyone who's planning a wedding or just mildly or wildly curious about wedding planning in general. I see you, single Pringles. I know you're there. Thank you for being here. And until next week, bye, guys.